You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hitting a round number on this week's edition of the Show Before the Show podcast. 120? Episode 120? Is that where we are?
Yeah, that is where we are. It feels like there's some juicy thing that we can have in that, like 120. It's 2 minutes. It's I don't know, like it's 120 seconds. I don't know what there is to do about that, but
there are a lot of people out there who are like, ugh, if only these podcasts were 120 seconds.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what if we did an 120-minute one, and that's 2 hours? And they're like, no, you people already take up like 75 minutes of our lives every week.
True.
We don't need to be adding more to that.
We'll just talk really fast for 120 seconds. No, we're not going to.
Oh God,
We're not going to do it. I'm sorry.
Have you heard about these people who put on their podcasts like at 2 times or 1.5 times speed?
Yeah. What is with those people?
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
That's insanity to me.
I can't be listening to Fresh Air and have Terry Gross sounding like Alvin the Chipmunk.
By the way, let's just dive in real quick to we'll go on a big aside to get the show started today. But I was listening to Fresh Air yesterday, and Terry Gross is interviewing Jessica Williams, former correspondent on The Daily Show. And Jessica Williams was telling the story of how she met her boyfriend. And apparently one day Jessica Williams lives in Brooklyn like Sam, walked out of her building, and a dude just saw her on the street and went, "Oh my God, I love you." And she turned around and he was like, sorry, I've been out with my friends all day. I've had a little bit to drink, but I think you're hilarious. I think you're so talented, blah, blah, blah. And they took a selfie together. He posted it somewhere online. She was hoping he would tag her in it. He didn't. And then like a week or 10 days later, she's out at a bar, runs into the same dude, and they start dating. And now they're like madly in love. So the moral of the story is, if I am in New York and I see a celebrity crush, now I feel like maybe it isn't the most insane thing in the world to just say, "Oh my God, I love you." Maybe you end up with that person.
Tyler?
What do you think?
Tyler.
What do you think?
Tyler.
What do you
Tyler.
think?
I'm just going to keep saying Tyler until you realize how creepy that actually is.
Hey, episode number 120 of the Show Before the Show. You can find us on iTunes. We're on the Stitcher app. We're on Google Play, and we are at milb.com/podcast. He's Sam Dykstra. I'm Tyler Mon, and we will get started. We've got big things popping all over the prospect world as of the last week, 10 days or so. First and foremost is a brand new top 100 prospects from MLB Pipeline, which is a unique one. The top 11 hitters on the updated midseason top 100 list, the top 11 players are all hitters. They're all offensive players. Top 8 guys are all international signees. There's not a lot of high-end pitching talent, but there are a lot of guys who crush baseballs. Yohan Moncada remains the top prospect in all of minor league baseball, although he's up in the big leagues right now. So time could be winding down for Moncada, as you would assume. At some point, he will graduate off of this list pretty soon. Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop prospect in the New York Mets organization, leapfrogs Gleyber Torres, the New York Yankees prospect. He is the number 2 prospect now in baseball and would inherit the mantle of the top prospect in baseball if and when Moncada graduates. Then it is Torres at number 3. Rafael Devers, a guy who we'll talk about who's also in the big leagues right now, he is at number 4. Victor Robles, the Washington Nationals outfield prospect, is number 5. How about Vlad Guerrero Jr., who was the preseason number 34 in all of baseball and is now the 6th ranked prospect in baseball, the third baseman of the Toronto Blue Jays organization. Eloy Jimenez, recent trade acquisition of the Chicago Cubs. The outfielder is number 7. Ronald Acuna, Sam's man crush in the prospect community, the Atlanta Braves prospect. He is number 8 with AAA Gwinnett. Brendan Rodgers, shortstop and you could say second baseman, the Colorado Rockies organization, is number 9. Kyle Tucker is number 10, the outfielder in the Houston Astros organization. Rounding out the 11 position players to get things started is Nick Senzel, who is at number 11, the Cincinnati Reds third baseman. Michael Kopech is the top-ranked baseball pitching prospect at number 12 in the White Sox organization. 11 hitters lead this list. That is amazing.
Yeah, it kind of is. And I think it's just kind of a special moment in time. I don't think there's anything we really need to take away from this in terms of or teams doing a better job of developing their hitters or whatever. I think it just happens to be at this point in time, the best prospects in the game right now are hitters. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just don't think there's some big picture thing we need to take from it. And I don't think anybody's really tried that. I just want to kind of nip that in the bud at the beginning. But you look at this group, we could have that middle infield discussion all over again. I know we had it at the beginning of the year with Torres and Rosario and Moncada. And Tyler brought up that Moncada's now in the majors. I'm excited he's in the majors because he's a supreme talent, 5-tool talent. There's a reason why he's number one on this list. But I'm excited for him to be in the majors to potentially graduate just because we can stop having this debate about, is he better than Rosario? Is he better than Torres? Is he better than Robles? Whatever. MLB has sided on his side, saying yes, his numbers at AAA were pretty solid, but he's still got the rest of the game going. He's still got a really good hit tool. He's going to show lots of pop from both sides of the plate. A really, really good runner, strong arm. Whether he sticks at second long term, whatever. Anyways, we've had that discussion 10 times over. He's staying as the number one prospect for now. When he graduates, Rosario will assumedly move into that number 2 spot. I kind of want to get into the guys who have made big jumps, though. Guys who were not in the top 100 at the beginning of the year and are now there. Bo Bichette, we've talked about plenty of times. He's now at he's now jumped into the top 100, dropped into the top 50. He is now at number 30. Juan Soto's at 42, the outfielder in the national system, currently injured, but was tearing the ball apart before that at Class A Hagerstown. Franklin Perez, really young pitcher in the Astros system. He moves up to number 46. Sixto Sanchez, who is one of my big prospect crushes. You mentioned Ronald Acuna. Sixto Sanchez just throws tons of strikes, throws heat already.
Also has
barely
the
walks
name
guys
of a badass character in a Western, Sixto Sanchez,
Oh, okay.
Sixto. It's a fantastic name.
I thought you were referencing a specific Western.
No, I just think it would be
no,
a great,
if
somebody was writing a Western, Sixto Sanchez would be a terrific name for a character.
It would be. And the Lord knows the guy is accurate enough to feature in a Western.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not be
A straight shooter,
wanting
you
to
might
go
say.
against him. Yeah, exactly. So he jumps in.
I'm sorry.
I think he could move up even more just once he shows that he can do this over a full season. So kind of stay tuned on him in the Philly system. And Jack Flaherty, who we had on the podcast a couple weeks ago to talk about his jump. Now, he was dominant at AA Springfield in the Cardinals system before this, has really shown and put it together at AAA Memphis as well. He's been really fun. Now he's back in the top 100 discussion. Not only that, he's right in the thick of it at number 53. So those are 5 guys who have jumped into the top 100 after being left off at the beginning of the preseason. Some other big jumpers I just want to get through real fast, so I'll reel them off. Walker Buehler, who we've talked about a number of times. This is his first fully healthy season. He's moved up since the AAA Oklahoma City after starting the year at Class A Advanced Rancho Cucamonga. Has one of the best package of pitches in the game right now. He jumped up. He was number 93, I think, at the beginning of the year. Now he's number 13. A big reason for that is just because, he's got a plus fastball, plus curveball, above average slider, and a solid changeup just to give guys different looks, throw in some good control. And you can see how that kind of all comes together. He's right up there with, a Kopech, a Brent Honeywell as the best pitching prospects in the game. So that's kind of exciting if you're a Dodgers fan, but also, what is going to happen with him at AAA Oklahoma City? How are the Dodgers going to use him? Obviously, the Dodgers are having a very special season. He might be, he's the best arm in their system right now. Do they try to get the most out of him, move him to the bullpen and move him to the majors already in his first fully healthy season after Tommy John? We'll have to kind of wait and see. That first AAA Oklahoma City start did not exactly go according to plan with him. He gave up 2 hits, 3 walks, without actually recording an out. Not great. But we'll see how that kind of progresses the more outings he gets in the PCL. This is always kind of fun to see later on. We've seen so far how guys have done, and we've discussed them, and we know internally, who is jumping up. But to see them now reflected in these rankings is kind of fun. They'll be updated again the rest, going into the offseason a couple months from now. But just this allows us a snapshot of what the kind of state of the game is right now. it's obviously, a little hitter friendly right now among prospects, and it's obviously a little international friendly, as Tyler mentioned. I think the first 8 prospects in the game, according to MLB Pipeline, are all international signees. You have to get to Brendan Rodgers at number 9 before you get somebody who came through the draft, which I think is really interesting, especially with all the international pool changes that are coming in. Is there something to be taken away from that? I said there's not necessarily that with hitters, but with the investments you can make in the international market, our organization's going to look at this and realize just how much talent is there and how much return on investment you can get. That'll be kind of fascinating to watch going forward. So, like I said, snapshot for now, but we'll keep an eye on how guys continue to improve and how high they can even climb going into the offseason.
Chicago White Sox system, which we talked about after the deals that they made in recent weeks, they now have 8 prospects in the top 100 in the updated rankings. The Atlanta Braves have 9. Each of those organizations is equal with 527 prospect points, which is the ranking system that MLB Pipeline uses. You get 100 points for having the top prospect in baseball. So, for example, the White Sox get 100 points. The Mets get 99 points for having Amed Rosario at number 2. The Yankees get 98 for Gleyber Torres at number 3, et cetera, et cetera. So the Braves and the White Sox have 527 points. The next highest organization, the Tampa Bay Rays, have 296 prospect points. There are 3 teams that do not check in with any top 100 prospects at the midway point. Those are the Kansas City Royals, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and the Miami Marlins, and the Chicago Cubs, Arizona Diamondbacks, San Francisco Giants, and Baltimore Orioles. Oh, and the Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers. They all have 1 prospect apiece. But there is, right now, it's like there's the Braves and the White Sox, and then there's everybody else. And there are a lot of other good systems. Just shows you how really good those 2 systems are.
Yeah, and they assign prospect points for this. MLB Pipeline does based on top 100. I think
Right.
The Yankees would certainly climb. I think they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th in prospect points, but they have such a deep system of guys that don't quite crack the top 100, but are certainly interesting in their own right. The Phillies are right there in that discussion as well, and I think the Padres would climb up maybe even a little higher. Although they're number 4, I think they're probably a top 5 system right now as well. So, take that for what it's worth, but they also updated the top 30 so you can dig into your favorite organization and see what is beyond just these big names that we kind of herald as the top 100.
And this also notably includes the 27 draft as well. So if you had been checking the rankings over the first few weeks of July and thought, well, why am I not finding Royce Lewis here? Why am I not finding Hunter Green? Where's Mackenzie Gore? Those guys are all included now in the rankings for each team. So you can find the top 30 by team and the top 100 prospects in all baseball now at MLBpipeline.com. Sam, strike 2, one of those guys we were just talking about a minute ago, is up in the big leagues now, and as of today, we're recording this on Wednesday the 26th, his first major league hit, a homer. That's Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. Devers this year, 77 games with AA Portland, just 9 games with AAA Pawtucket, and he's up in the big leagues. This is a big jump. He is a very, very young guy. Won't turn 21 until October of this year. Does it feel like a rush to you to get Devers to the big leagues at this stage, or do you think he's ready right now?
Oh, I absolutely think he's ready. I thought he should have been moved up to Pawtucket weeks ago. The Red Sox kind of had a situation where they were trying to figure out what to do with Pablo Sandoval.
Right.
He was technically on a rehab assignment. They brought in Johnny Peralta to see if maybe he could even start hitting at AAA and maybe be a third base option for them. But it just always seemed that the solution was sitting there. I mean, their best prospect was a third baseman. Yes, he is very young. He is 20. He's just started playing AA ball this year, but he was tearing it up there. He was hitting 300 with a 369 OBP, 575 slugging percentage, 18 homers in 77 games. He doesn't strike out as much as you might expect for somebody with that much power. He's just such a good offensive player. The questions always came up about like his defense. Okay, yes, I get it. He comes in at 6 foot, 195, and I think that 195 might be a little generous. It's a very high maintenance body. He doesn't look necessarily like an athletic third baseman, and I know the folks in Boston have kind of gone through that already with Pablo Sandoval. Everybody said like, oh yeah, he looks like out of shape, but he's been like this his whole life. He'll figure it out. Listen, Devers might move to first base at some point, but all the way up the chain, I've been following this guy since he was in the DSL. When they were talking about the sound just sounds, or the ball just sounds different off the bat, which I know is a little cliched, but Everybody you talked to said this is a guy who at every stop was showing more power than you would expect for somebody of his age. And everybody said, listen, you think he might not be a great third baseman and he'll take his errors here and there, but he is more nimble at third base than you'd expect. He can certainly be a major league average third baseman right now. That might change as he gets older, as he loses a hitch in his step, but he'll be fine at the hot corner. It just seemed like people were kind of going out of their way to explain why Devers was not ready. But he's shown at every step this year. I didn't really see him struggle that much. If he did, it wasn't for an extended period of time. Seeing him at the Futures game, I think he was the only guy to get a hit off Brent Honeywell, who was the MVP. Obviously, the smallest sample sizes than that, but he swung at the first pitch against Honeywell after seeing him dominate in the first inning. Honeywell even said he was surprised he swung at the first pitch. The guy's advanced in so many different ways. And when you have such a question mark as the Red Sox have had at third base this year, it seemed like they were just going out of their way, tripping over themselves to not bring up Devers, because I think they were worried about what happened last year with Yoan Moncada. He was brought up to play third base. They moved him a position. He was a second baseman. They moved him to third base. Sandoval was struggling, had his injuries, all that kind of stuff. Rod Moncada struck out a ton, really struggled in the majors, and they decided to just shut it down with him and not worry about his or not try to hurt his confidence even more. I don't think they wanted that again. The change is Moncada was trying to learn a new position while also facing major league pitching. Devers has played third base his entire minor league career. There is not that adjustment level in terms of defense that there was with Moncada. I think people were just being a little too overcautious. They certainly ran out of options. They were involved in that Todd Frazier discussion before he went to the Yankees. He might have been a good fit, especially, with his power hitting in Fenway Park. But Devers already showing, that homer today against the Mariners was a beauty, straightaway center. That's exactly what he's shown at Portland. It's what he showed in a brief time at Pawtucket. This guy was ready, and I can't imagine he's going to stumble in the same way that Moncada did last year. Things get a little hairy after that trade for Eduardo Nunez. If you haven't heard about that, the Red Sox picked up Eduardo Nunez from the Giants for 2 pitching prospects this week. They might split time right now. Devers hits from the left side exclusively, so Nunez might get the nod against left-handers. I still think Devers is a good enough hitter against left-handers that he should be getting the full-time job. Nunez can be a good guy coming off the bench. He can fill multiple positions, maybe help out in the outfield. I don't think this stunts Devers' playing time, or it shouldn't at the very least. But we'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. But he certainly earned this. This is not an aggressive push, I feel like, by any means.
Rafael Devers today went out opposite field. StatCast measured it at 108.5 miles per hour on exit velocity, 427 feet for his first career major league hit and his first career major league homer. Devers is the youngest Red Sox player to homer since Tony Conigliaro did it as a 19-year-old in 1964. He hit 24 total that year. So not a bad start, not a bad comp for your first major league hit, and Rafael Devers has broken onto the big league scene in that way. That was in Seattle, his first major league home run and his first major league knock. Strike 3 this week, Sam. Marco Gonzalez, who is now the 11th ranked prospect in the Seattle Mariners organization, and this week made headlines because he was involved in, as you duly noted in your story, kind of a rare thing in baseball, which is just a prospect for prospect deal in which Gonzalez goes from the St. Louis Cardinals to the Seattle Mariners in exchange for slugger Tyler O'Neill, friend of the podcast, friend of the site. We don't often see just a one-for-one trade of a prospect for a prospect without anybody else being involved. This is a unique one.
Yeah, and it's fun, because I think we think of prospects as almost like pearls. You need to clutch them. Like, you just need to hold on to them as much as you can, and you only give them up for bigger and better things. But prospects don't always fit certain systems. They're brought up in those systems, they're drafted in those systems, signed, whatever. But sometimes there's better fits elsewhere, and this is what that kind of felt like. The Mariners are looking for young, controllable pitching. And we always talk about that, and you think of like, okay, who's a major leaguer who hasn't undergone arbitration? But sometimes that can still be a prospect. I mean, Gonzalez has major league experience. We'll get into that with him later. He was kind of put on the fast track with the Cardinals before, suffering all sorts of arm injuries, shoulder injuries. He underwent Tommy John surgery that knocked him out last year. and brought him back this year. But he's been showing, that he's fully back. That changeup that I think is his best pitch is still a really, really good pitch, working really well for him when he was with AAA Memphis. And he ticks all those boxes for the Mariners. And, we've joked before, especially in the offseason, Jerry Dipoto will trade for us one day or trade us.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't control us. He'll find a way to trade us.
He'll figure it out.
Worry. Yeah. So he's a GM who was willing to be creative, and Gonzalez was somebody there. He hadn't yet really gotten his chance this year in St. Louis. I think he got one start, didn't really go well. He was sent immediately back to Memphis. So, he found a prospect that he liked, a guy who has really good control. He's only walked 18 batters in 80 1/3 innings this year in the minors. Now he's in Tacoma. He had to pay a kind of high price. Tyler O'Neill, at the time, was a top 100 prospect. He fell out during the update, and then I think he's now back in. He's at number 100. But he's somebody whose stock was coming down a little bit. Had really struggled at the beginning of the year in the Pacific Coast League, which you don't really want to see because that's such a hitter's league that you would expect somebody with his type of power could really take off. The timing was a little curious. I think he hit 5 homers in his last 5 games before the trade.
He's really
so you started to think
the ball since about the middle of June.
Yeah, you would think like he's coming back and he's starting to rebuild his stock again. And this is going to be interesting. How are the Mariners going to use him? And then they trade him like this. But it kind of tells you that as much as we take the prospect rankings kind of as gospel and as the truth, all organizations value different prospects and different pieces in different ways. Gonzalez has a lot more value to the Mariners as a team trying to make a playoff push and needing pitching. They don't need an outfielder like O'Neill. The Cardinals trying to figure themselves out in that NL Central that's kind of wacky right now. But O'Neill is a chance to kind of buy low. Gonzalez was behind everybody on the depth chart. O'Neill could be behind other guys. Harrison Bader got called up to St. Louis this week. He's a really talented prospect who is also coming from Memphis. So O'Neill's got to deal with him. He's got to deal with Steven Piscotty, Randall Grichuk, Dexter Fowler, Tommy Pham. I mean, there's so many other variables going on there, but the Cardinals get a chance for a guy who really does have plus power, could really take off. And yeah, it's just so fascinating to see 2 teams deal with prospects straight up in this way without somebody being DFA'd or something like that.
The one interesting thing about this from the perspective of Tyler O'Neill and the Cardinals is it seemed like Tyler O'Neill was such a good fit for the Mariners and in an American League organization because he could DH. He's an average graded fielder. His fielding tool is a 50 grade according to MLB Pipeline, which is Major League average. His arm is a 55, so slightly above Major League average. But, the Mariners are another organization that has a good amount of outfield depth, and you kind of figured Tyler O'Neill can factor in no matter what. He can be in the lineup basically every day because you can DH him if you want to get some of these other guys the innings in the field. So it's somewhat curious in that regard for a Cardinals organization that also has depth and is acquiring somebody who would seem to profile a lot more because of his offensive strength than defensively. But this is a guy who, when he gets it going, there are a few players who string together stretches quite like we've seen Tyler O'Neill do over the last couple of seasons and now in the second half of the minor leagues. But for Marco Gonzalez, this is really an opportunity for the Mariners to have bought low on a guy who can really give you a lot going forward. He is somebody who profiles as a mid to back rotation type of guy. If he sticks in a rotation, people have thought maybe at a time that he would be slotted for long relief at some point in his career. But this year, he just looks a lot more like the guy that we saw when he was drafted. He made it to the big leagues within a year. He was a first-round pick in 2013. He was in the majors and pitching in the postseason in 2014. So Marco Gonzalez has proven that he can be effective at the major league level. He pitched in 10 games that year. He made 5 starts. 4.15 was the ERA. Opponents batted .241 against him. He fanned 31 and 34 and 2/3 innings. So the stuff is there. The command is really, really good. The control is really good with Marco Gonzalez. That oftentimes is the most difficult thing to recapture when you're coming off a Tommy John surgery, which he was, which robbed him of his 2016 season. But this is, for the Mariners, a chance to add a piece that this time 3 years ago, I don't think we ever would have thought that this type of deal could land Marco Gonzalez. And, to be fair, I don't think this time 2 years ago we would have thought that a prospect for prospect trade was going to get Tyler O'Neill either. So it's a curious one. But like you said, it's exciting because we don't see this happen very often. And there are a lot of intricacies and levels to this deal with each of these organizations that makes it interesting moves and interesting acquisitions on either side.
Yeah, and I would love to see more deals like this happen. Just in terms of, this organization doesn't really have pitching. Okay, well, this organization has plenty of pitching. Looking at you, Braves, or something like that. I would just love to see teams match up in this way. But I think it's going to take something like this working out, or I don't know, more creative GMs like Jerry Dipoto, something like that, for us to see it. But it's fun to us to talk about. It's fun for us to kind of project forward, and we'll be paying attention to both of these guys the rest of the year.
So that'll do it for this week's edition of Three Strikes. Coming up, we are inundated with promo talk this week. We got a ton of good promos on the docket for this week. No Benjamin Hill. He is off and gallivanting about New York City, but Sam and I will break down some of the best and brightest in the world of minor league baseball promos coming up next. Ordinarily, at this time of the show, we would talk to Benjamin Hill about what's coming up in promotions around minor league baseball this week. Apparently, he just bailed on us to go to a Tom Petty concert because it's 1988. Is that what I'm hearing?
Hey, we will not be trashing.
Oh, but
Tom
ain't that
Petty.
America? Wait, is that the Cougar?
Yeah, you're making it sound
Is that
like John
Cougar Mellencamp?
Tom Petty. You're gonna just bring up Bruce
Him,
Springsteen.
Springsteen, yeah, they're all the same. It's all the same dude. It's all the same
We're
bad.
We're not going to be
80s.
trashing Petty and the Heartbreakers on this here podcast.
Is he
I will
still
not
with
stand
the
for that.
Heartbreakers, or is it just him now?
I mean, I can't imagine they would ever separate, right? I don't know. I honestly don't.
They're called the Heartbreakers, Sam. That's probably all they do is separate.
Yeah. See, that's why I set you up for that one.
So, instead, Sam and I will be diving into Promo Watch this week for the last full week of the month of July in the 2017 minor league baseball season, which means we have 1 month left of Promo Watch, which is insane. But let's get into it. Let's start in Bowie. There's a huge topic that we want to get to, a promo that we're both very jazzed about. But let's talk about some of these other ones first. One that is coming up on Friday, one that we've heard about for a while, which kind of goes in contrast to this next promo that we're going to discuss. But coming up on Friday, the 28th, the Bowie Bay Sox will once again change their name to the Bowie Bay Sox in honor of David Bowie. This is part of the Bay Sox's David Bowie tribute and 70th birthday celebration. They've been doing kind of David Bowie-related stuff all year, and this is cool because it's the most obvious tie-in. It's spelled the exact same way, although I still, to this day, I don't know how you get Bowie out of B-O-W-I-E. Neither here nor there. Coming up on Friday, the Bay Sox will be wearing some special theme jerseys that have kind of a Ziggy Stardust feel. This is a combination of a Ziggy Stardust outfit and the Union Jack flag, according to Bay Sox promotions manager Chris Rogers. They're doing some cool stuff with this Bowie promotion.
Yeah, and it obviously means something because he recently passed away. I think they did this last year as well. So it's not that often where a team just makes sense to do a promotion in this way, and to see Bowie take advantage, because it's supposed to be kind of a remembrance night for David Bowie, who is one of the best artists, or musical artists of all time, probably, certainly of the last century even. You don't want to say they were taking advantage, but still, like, this is something that should happen almost with regularity. Like, it just makes too much sense. So to see the amount of effort they're putting into it, they're not just like, yeah, hey, we'll play some Bowie songs, and hey, if you like Suffragette City, tune in for the third inning, and that's about it. No, like, every batter is going to have a Bowie walk-up song, which kind of makes me wonder if they're going to be able to choose it themselves or if they're assigned.
I bet they're probably just assigned.
Yeah, probably.
Unless there's like a very strong feeling among somebody who knows this promo night is coming up and it's like, no, I have to have this specific song.
Yeah, I would like to give the Bay Sox more credit. The team itself, like the players more credit that they've been studying up on their Bowie discography.
Could be.
Preparing for all of this. But yeah, no, they're really taking advantage of it, and that should be a lot of fun. It's kind of interesting that they call it the Union Jack. Do you have that picture up right now?
I do.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like a Union Jack. Is that just me?
It's the back side of the jersey almost looks like they cut a Union Jack down the middle and then they flipped each side over. Like it's almost like a Union Jack looking at it through a kaleidoscope.
But without the central bar, or
right? Like the central bar seems like it's split on the outside of the jerseys rather than it's a little different looking.
That's a whole other thing for our flag podcast, not this podcast. But definitely cool that this kind of happens every year. And Ben wrote it up for Potomac Watch. He would have more to say of it. He's written more about it, but it's something we want to draw your attention to if you are in the Bowie area, or for one night only the Bowie area.
I guess it's fitting then that Ben bailed on us to go to a concert, since our first promo that we're talking about this week is music related. Elsewhere around minor league baseball this week, the Jackson Generals will be honoring Shark Week on Discovery Channel. They'll be wearing Shark Week jerseys coming up on July 29th. That will be Saturday. The Potomac Nationals, we'll be talking about here in a minute, coming up on Saturday as well. They will be giving out a Steven Strasburg flamethrower bobblehead, which is interesting because Steven Strasburg has only ever pitched one game for Potomac in his life, and that was in 2011. Oddly enough, I was on the call for the visiting team for that game. It was against the Myrtle Beach Pelicans at Potomac's G. Richard Fitzner Stadium. He was coming back from Tommy John surgery. So kind of maybe a little bit of a stretch, but still sort of cool that the Peanuts are going to go with the bobblehead for Steven Strasburg, who doesn't have a long and illustrious Potomac career, but does have a Potomac career. And the Sacramento River Cats will be dressing themselves as the Sacramento Tomatoes coming up on Saturday, which will honor the city's farm-to-fork agriculture culture, as Ben put it, agriculture culture. And tomatoes, it's the latest in a long line of teams that are lining up as food items. I like Sacramento's jerseys, though, for these. They're cool.
I definitely like the jerseys because
they're very old school looking.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's just your basic red and white. Like, it's not trying to be like this big splashy thing. Although I don't know if you think they have green hats?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's
rare.
The tomato actually they do have green hats.
Oh, okay.
Cut it up. They did, but it's one of those funny things where it's a green hat with an angry tomato who is wearing a green hat.
Oh, it's an infinite regression.
The green hat has a fork.
Oh.
So this is not a Baltimore Orioles situation. It is not a tomato wearing a hat of a tomato of a hat.
That's lame.
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
like Lowell. The Lowell Spinners have a logo that has an alligator wearing a cap that the team does not wear, which I find very entertaining. He's wearing a red cap with a white L, and the Spinners do not have such a cap. But the alligator does, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
it's unique. It's unique to the alligator.
Yeah, I don't.
There you go, Bowie. There's a promotion for next year. Bowie.
I don't think they would sell fork hats.
Lowell, not Bowie. Yeah, no, that's probably true. Okay, we have two really cool promos that we want to dive into. And first, we're going to go for a nationwide-ish promo. It will soon be, coming up in 2018, will be a much larger promo. But let's read from the release from Minor League Baseball itself in St. Petersburg, Florida. Quote, Minor League Baseball today launched Es Divertido Ser un Fan, a new multicultural fan engagement platform aimed at specifically connecting with Hispanic and Latino baseball fans in 160 markets throughout the United States and Canada. The program will debut this August in select MILB markets, including Las Vegas, Charlotte, North Carolina, Kane County, Illinois, and Visalia, California, with a national expansion planned for 2018. This is a really cool initiative. Prior to the season, we wrote up a story for the site on Minor League Baseball's Hometown Collection, which has been added to the MILB store this year, throwback logos and hats and uniform implements and T-shirts and all that kind of stuff that have been up on the store. In that conversation that I had with Kurt Hunzecker, who's one of the brand manager gurus behind the Minor League Baseball identity with the MILB headquarter level in St. Petersburg, Florida, he mentioned that one thing MILB is very mindful of is the fact that there's a massive portion of the minor league baseball fan base that minor league baseball hasn't really catered to as of yet, hasn't really made a determined concerted outreach to as of yet. And this is now the first real step into that arena, and it's so well done. 4 teams will be suiting up under, in some cases, unique and new identities. The Visalia Rawhide are going to keep kind of the same concept. They're going to be the Visalia Toros. The Kane County Cougars will remain the Kane County Cougars. They'll have special uniforms. The Charlotte Knights will turn into the Charlotte Caballeros, and the coolest one for my money in this, Las Vegas, the 51s will go entirely away from the alien theme to become the Reyes de Plata, the Silver Kings, which celebrates Las Vegas and Nevada's history in the mining business, et cetera, et cetera. Their logo is incredible. It's kind of a Dia de los Muertos skull that's got a torn cowboy hat on. It's amazing. You can see the logos, the jerseys, all this stuff is up at MILB.com right now. These teams do have some of this merchandise on sale. I know if you want to get a Reyes de Plata hat or shirt, that stuff is on sale right now for Las Vegas, but this is a really, really cool outreach program.
Yeah, and it's almost something that it feels like it was a long time coming. Obviously, there's a big Hispanic population that follows baseball. You only have to look at the game right now to see just how many Hispanic players there are, and that means Hispanic fan bases, and you want to see those fan bases represented in the game itself and in some of the promos and some of these areas. Visalia, Vegas, and Charlotte makes sense, and Kane County apparently has a very large Hispanic population, one of the largest around Chicago, which is interesting. So this is kind of an opportunity to reach out to those groups, say, listen, we want to talk to you about more than just baseball, and just these rebranding efforts. I mean, Tyler hit the nail on the head, are really cool looking. The Visalia Toros, I really like that kind of switch. I wouldn't almost mind them becoming the Visalia Toros.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, because it just makes so much sense for that region and just so much sense in terms of a branding effort. And Reyes de Plata is just so much more fun than the 51s at this point, which feels kind of stale and like, okay, I get it. You're aliens and Area 51. This brings a little bit more flavor to the region and a little bit more flavor to the team, and the logo is fun, and all this kind of excitement that we've seen just in our and the mentions of Milb and all this other stuff, and the way we've been following since this story came out. It's been a lot of fun. So the 4 teams right now, I'm not speaking in any official capacity. This is just for me. I would love to see this kind of expand out, more teams take this on, maybe become a Milb wide initiative, that kind of thing. But to see this in this area and see the excitement that comes with it, I think we can all learn a lesson from it, and hopefully great things come from it going forward.
And again, this is 4 markets for 2017. There is a national expansion of this initiative planned for 2018, and this kind of expands on the whole It's Fun to Be a Fan campaign, which Minor League Baseball, of course, unveiled back in March and has been a huge hit. But the 51s thing is so cool. I mean, right now, if you Google Las Vegas 51s, like the first 3 stories that come up for the Las Vegas 51s news hits are about this name change, which is coming up next month. It's the very first thing on the 51s homepage. When you go to their site, the Reyes de Plata logo, which I had actually not even seen the full logo. I had seen kind of the head logo, which will be on the caps, but there is a full body logo of this skeleton who's carrying a pickaxe over his shoulder. He still has the torn cowboy hat on. It's awesome. So you can go check all that stuff out at MILB.com and at the team sites for these 4 clubs. Again, Charlotte, Visalia, Las Vegas, and the Kane County Cougars, the 4 teams will be involved in this for 2017, and a lot more coming up in 2018. Okay, this next one is the big one. And oddly enough, it sort of fell under the radar because it was just announced on Tuesday. We're recording this on Wednesday, and it'll happen on Thursday. So if you are anywhere near Woodbridge, Virginia, and you're a Seinfeld fan, get to Fitzner Stadium, the home of the Potomac Nationals, on Thursday night, because the Peanuts announced on Tuesday that they will be hosting Ode to George Costanza Night, which is, I gotta say, one of the most thorough, deepest, detailed promos, especially one that pertains to a TV show or a pop culture reference or something, that I have ever seen. And we're going to cover like a ton of this promo because it's so in depth. But the thing that I really think the overarching lesson of this is, what's neat for people like us I guess me and Ben more than Sam, since Sam's like 20 years younger than us. But the promos that are coming out now, I think are really cool because you can tell that everybody who's coming up with these promos in minor league front offices grew up at the same time that we grew up. So that's what's sort of neat is like we're getting all these 90s themed promos or these things about the old Nickelodeon shows or Fresh Prince or Saved by the Bell, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Seinfeld, all this stuff that is coming from things that were big trends when we were all forming our opinions on what we liked and didn't like in life. And so if you're in your, mid-20s to late 30s or something right now, like you're kind of in it. Like this is the golden age for those of us who are in that range and minor league promos, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you saying I don't get these references?
No, I mean, you
Tyler,
do. You're just
are you saying that I will not get...
Sam.
Sam is getting upset. Sam is getting upset. That's it. This was supposed to be the summer of Sam. No, actually, that's wrong.
Whoa!
Whoa!
No, that's not.
No.
Oof! Jeez.
See, I can't take this joke too far. It doesn't work.
No, it'd be bringing that in. Oddly enough, though, there's a Seinfeld episode with a Son of Sam reference in it. Okay, so let's dive into this. Thursday night. These are just some of the things that the Peanuts will be doing with George Costanza themed, I guess, aspects of the game. These are just ticket deals alone. This is just for ticket deals. One free grandstand ticket will be provided to any fan with the legal last name of Vandelay or O'Brien. O'Brien is a pretty deep cut for Seinfeld fans. That's from a real early episode where they think that George is like a neo-Nazi who's going to give a speech at Madison Square Garden. Or Costanza or Cartwright, also kind of a deep cut. You have to have proof of ID. One free ticket to any fan with Coco or Lewis and any part of their full legal name. George's middle name was Lewis. He was once given the nickname Coco because he looked like a gorilla doing sign language while he was yelling at somebody at work. One $5 grandstand ticket for bald guys with the classic horseshoe pattern. Anyone wearing a cotton New York Yankees jersey, which is fantastic because there's an episode
cotton,
where it has to be cotton, which is
has to be cotton.
Almost impossible, I would think, to find. There's an episode where George says that the polyester uniforms are too rigid. They're not breathable. Cotton's a breathable fabric. So he gets the Yankees to switch to cotton uniforms. Then they wash and dry them. They all shrink. Don Mattingly splits his pants. It's a whole thing. Residents of Brooklyn and Long Island, New York, all marine biologists, a very famous episode. Any group of 3 guys and 1 girl will get 1 free grandstand ticket. The group can decide who gets the free ticket, but let's be honest, it should be the Elaine in your group because she has to put up with all the rest of you. Anyone named Lloyd Braun, this is one of my favorites, will be charged a $5 service fee for any ticket transaction. So it all comes back to Lloyd. Jason Alexander himself has been offered free admission. I would imagine that he probably won't show up, but if he does, he'll get a complimentary premium ticket, which at the Fitz, debatable what that means, but still. And if the Peanuts go out on a high note via a walk-off victory over their opponents that night, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, every fan in attendance will get 1 free grandstand ticket voucher to any remaining 2017 Peanuts home game upon exiting the ballpark. That is just the ticket deals alone. Some of the other brilliant stuff in this promotion, any fans who donate a white sweater with a red stain on it will get 40% off in the team store. Stains on the sweaters will be removed by Team Peanuts representatives, and the sweaters will then be given to a local donation shelter. There is so much. This is like one of the deepest possible promotions that you could. There's so much stuff in this. It's ridiculous. And being that this is like Seinfeld is my life, this is maybe my favorite promo of all time.
Yeah, no, it's just
fantastic.
Like the fact that they go this deep. I know the Cyclones had like Seinfeld night before, but this is just so deep into one character, which is just so awesome. I would love to know why they did it now. I think, is it a Festivus thing, you think? Like everybody else is
maybe
doing
it could
July.
be like a halfway to Festivus, I guess. You could do like, well, except that would have been June since Festivus is
No, I know, but everybody else
does Christmas in July. That's true. So maybe it's like a Festivus in July?
Yeah, somebody's got to do a Festivus in July.
That's true.
Yeah, but I want there to be like so many characters. Like I want somebody to actually try to order soup at one of the things and then try to return it. Just have like, a 70-year-old employee of the team go up and just start yelling, trying to return soup at one of the deli stands.
He was angry that day, my friends.
I know, yeah. Just somebody making a mistake, and then if they could rope in the manager, just get the manager to like do something, argue, get tossed out, and then go back up to the umpire and say, "Was that wrong?"
Should I not have done
that?
that?
Frowned upon? Yeah. I gotta plead ignorance on this thing. It's such a rich vein for comedy and just promotion, but to see teams go, the extra mile with all of these things. I mean, I would love to get like hard data back on how many, Cocos showed up, if there was an actual Coco.
Yeah.
How many residents of Brooklyn and Long Island show up, because, as somebody who lives in Brooklyn right now, I would love to go to the game and
you could take a train down there.
Pay $5. Yeah, but that's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Hey man, if you had Lewis in your name, you can get in free.
I know, yeah. If only. I'll bring that up to my parents.
Yeah.
It's more likely I would have O'Brien in my name than I think Lewis, but different story. No, I mean, we could keep going with all the quotes in this, and I'm sure they're going to be doing all sorts of things. But if you could, I'll just turn this to you, Tyler, because you're much more into Seinfeld than I could ever be, and I'm a pretty big fan myself. If you could have a walk-up Costanza quote, like with Bowie, there were Bowie songs that they're going to be walking up to, but like you could walk up and it's going to be a Costanza quote, what would it be?
Oh man, there is a line where George is going to see a therapist, and he's talking to her about his parents and how they're all crazy and whatever, and he's talking to her also about how NBC is interested in picking up the pilot for the show Jerry, etc. And he says, that'll never happen. God would never let me be happy. And the therapist goes, I thought you didn't believe in God. And George goes, I do for the bad things. That's one of the most brilliantly written moments. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the most brilliantly written moments in the history of that show. The more I read in this promo, though, like the more brilliant it becomes. They'll have hand models on the video board in left field at the Fitz, which will be Peanuts pitchers will be showing off pitch grips. The video board will also have advertisements from supporting. This night is brought to you by Vandalay Industries. It'll be featuring co-sponsors including Kruger Industrial Smoothing, the Human Fund, the Susan Ross Foundation, the Sunshine Carpet Cleaners, Costanza and Son, and Mario's Pizza. They will also be providing safe wedding invitation tips on the video board, reminding fans who are engaged to 1, check the wedding envelope's adhesive for toxicity level, 2, clear your staircase of envelopes, and 3, don't marry Susan Ross. Another fun tie-in, by the way, Susan Ross, her father in Seinfeld, Lucas Giolito's grandfather. Oddly enough, he has now passed away, but one of the great characters in Seinfeld history. And also, Bodysuit Man may make an appearance mid-game on the field, which is very exciting. My favorite thing about this entire promo, though, as it is written on the Peanuts site, it says, actor Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza on Seinfeld, blah, blah, blah. Jason Alexander is hyperlinked, and it takes you unwittingly to the MILB.com player page of Arizona League Angels right-handed pitching reliever Jason Alexander, who has made 7 appearances in the AZL this year for the rookie-level Angels, and I had no idea existed until this promo, and now we know there's a Jason Alexander in the minor leagues. Unfortunately, there's not a Lloyd Braun, and there's not a George Costanza, but still, this is as good. If I could give out grades, this would be an A++++ promo. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we need to engineer a trade of some sort
to
get Jason Alexander to the Nationals and then called up to the Peanuts.
I'm going to tweet at him and see if he's even seen this. I'm sure the Peanuts have done that, but, it's worth a shot. When
all of you listen to this, check in on Tyler's page and just see if that went
Jason
viral.
Alexander has responded. The press release ends. Ordinarily, at the end of press releases, teams will have something that says, like, about the Potomac Nationals or about the company that's sponsoring an event, whatever. This one ends about Vandalay Industries. Vandalay Industries is an import-export company. They manufacture and sell latex. They sell latex and latex-related products. Vandalay Industries is located at 186 West 81st Street, New York, New York. Vandalay Industries is led by Art Vandalay, one of the best importer-exporters in the Northeast. And, man, whoever did this, I want to hang out with so badly, Potomac.
Identify yourself.
This is fantastic.
And, we'll get you your requisite dap. on Twitter and whatnot.
It's amazing. So a lot of good stuff going on in promos this week around the minor leagues. Again, check out the very, very cool initiative from MILB Estevertito. I'm not going to try to pronounce it and butcher it again, but the outreach to Hispanic and Latino fans for markets this season will take the field in some very cool uniforms, new names, all that kind of stuff, which will be expanded in 2018. Check that out. Check this out on the PNAT site. Of course, you can check out Promo Watch from Benjamin Hill, who is on Twitter at BensBiz, and you can check out the blog bensbiz.mlblogs.com. And Ben has a new road trip coming up.
Yeah, he's going to Binghamton starting, I think, on Friday. He'll be going to Binghamton, Hartford for 2 nights in Hartford, then on to Wilmington, Frederick, Reading, and Altoona. So a Northeast trip. I talked to him. He's renting a car out of New York City, driving all around the place, hitting up, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, all these various stops on the Northeast. So if you get a chance, it's his pinned tweet. Go and check that out to see what the dates are, see if they can match up. We've already had the Binghamton designated eater, reach out and say you listen to the podcast. If you're somebody else, let Ben know that you heard about the trip through us. And I don't think he's going to give you like a discount. I don't know what he would do, but it would just be a hearty thank you, I think, from Ben's Biz, and that means a lot.
So you can go find Ben on Twitter. He's at BensBiz, and bensbiz.mlblog.com is the blog. And presumably we'll talk to Ben next week, and we'll wrap up the show next. Sam, what are you watching on MILB.TV this week? By the way, yesterday, got a chance to talk to J.D. Davis in the Houston Astros organization, and J.D., in the middle of a story, gave us a little plug for MILB.TV. He said, before now, he's with Fresno now. His hometown of Elk Grove, California is about 2 hours away from Fresno. He said, before this, the only way my family could watch me was on MILB.TV. So even the guys themselves know that you too should be watching on MILB TV.
That's a pretty good endorsement.
I know it.
So my game that I'm picking this week is on Friday. It's at 7:35 Eastern, 6:35 Central. Biloxi will be in Pensacola. The reason I'm picking that game is because Corbin Burns will be the starting pitcher for the Biloxi Shuckers. He's now the number 7 prospect in the Brewer system after the MLB.com update. He was number 21 at the beginning of the year. He was a 4th-round pick last year. I think he still leads minor league baseball in ERA with a 1.36 ERA in 19 starts between Class A Advanced Carolina and Double A Biloxi. 109 strikeouts, 112 third innings. So not only is he really limiting runs, but he's also missing bats. He's doing everything you would love to see. He's got an interesting kind of pitch package. He's got an above-average fastball and above-average slider, a curveball and changeup that are just kind of there to give other looks, but it all plays up because he has really, really solid control. The reason why I think that's going to be interesting, I would probably tell you to watch his start regardless, but that game against Pensacola will be kind of cool because he'll be going up against Nick Senzel, who is now a top 100 prospect. He was at the beginning of the year, but now he's moved up to number 11 after really showing a good hit tool at Class A Advanced Daytona to start the year. Now he's at Double A Pensacola, where he's hitting 309 with 3 homers in 29 games, kind of progressing in the way we all thought he would in his first full season after he was the 2nd overall pick last year. So that pitcher versus batter matchup is going to be interesting enough to watch, and I would encourage you to tune in just to watch those two guys go against it. But obviously watching Corbin Burns pitch a game has always been exciting this year. So that is my pick for this week's MILB.TV game. What about for you, Tyler?
I'm going to go to the San Diego Padres system, and friend of the podcast, Cal Quantrill, has been promoted to Double-A San Antonio and will make the start on Thursday for the Missions and the opener of a home series against the Frisco Rough Riders. Not only is Cal Quantrill now on that roster in San Antonio, he is the number 2 prospect in that organization, but the now number 10 prospect in that organization, Josh Naylor, the power-hitting first baseman, is also a member of the Mission, so you can get a chance to see Josh Naylor, who power-hitting, that's his best tool. We haven't seen him really break out in that regard yet, but sometimes we see that as guys climb, they start to face pitchers that leave a lot more stuff in the zone as you do when you climb the ladder. So Josh Naylor, also a member of that Missions roster, and so far does have a home run in his first couple of weeks in the Texas League. So those two guys You can get a chance to catch on MILB.TV when the San Antonio Missions host the Frisco Rough Riders in the AA Texas League on Thursday night. And I guess that'll do it. We could do an entire episode of me just ranting about how much I love that Peanuts promotion, so I'm glad at least we kept that sort of under a time frame that it should have been, kind of.
Well, that's what we say, but yeah, all the things that we left on the cutting room floor,
yeah,
I think could be saved for another, maybe this offseason we'll just have an entire Costanza reference.
Next year somebody's got to do just a full-on, because wasn't 98 the year the show went off the air? Anyway, next year somebody's got to do like 4 days where they just do one for, I guess the Peanuts have already done George. But now, well, it might as well be you, Potomac. You might as well do Jerry and Kramer and Elaine next year. Do it. Make it happen. It's episode number 120 of the Show Before the Show podcast. He's Sam Dykstra. I'm Tyler Maughan. We'll talk to you next week.